Think of a battery as a steady pump, delivering energy as a slow, continuous drip. A capacitor does something entirely different. It stores electrical energy to release it all at once, like the blinding burst of a camera flash or the sudden jolt of a defibrillator. By definition, capacitance, C, equals the stored charge Q divided by the voltage V. But this equation traps students every year. The amount of charge you push into a capacitor, or the voltage you apply to it, does not dictate its actual capacity. Just like pouring a cup of water into a 5-gallon bucket doesn't turn it into a 1-cup bucket, capacitance is independent of what it's currently holding. Capacitance is governed by physical geometry, the surface area of the plates, and the exact distance separating them. Expand the area, you store more charge. Narrow the gap, charges pull on each other intensely. This tighter electric field holds more charge for the same voltage. Building a more effective capacitor comes down to two specific engineering goals: maximizing plate area and minimizing the separation distance. There is a physical limit to how close you can push two plates before the electricity simply arcs across the gap. To bypass this limit, we introduce a dielectric, an insulating material placed directly between the plates, measured by its specific dielectric constant, K. When you place an insulator into an active electric field, the molecules inside the material can't conduct electricity, but they do react. At the atomic level, they stretch and polarize. The negative ends of the molecules pull toward the positive plate, creating a network of tiny dipoles. This alignment generates a new internal electric field that pushes back against the main one. Because of this internal pushback, the net electric field drops. A weaker field means the voltage between the plates decreases. And since the physical plates can now hold that identical charge at a lower voltage, the overall capacitance scales up. Our geometry formula simply multiplies by K. Dielectrics act as a physical cheat code, allowing you to multiply your energy storage capacity by factors of 5, 10, or even hundreds without needing to expand the physical footprint of the device. This leads directly to the most common friction point in electrostatics. Exams will ask you to insert a dielectric into a capacitor under two completely different circuit conditions and track what happens to the variables. In case 1, the battery remains connected. The battery is the engine of the system, so the voltage is strictly locked in place. When the dielectric slides in and the capacitance increases, the constant voltage forces the battery to pump more charge onto the plates to match the new capacity. Look at this diagram for case 2, where the battery is disconnected before the dielectric goes in. Because the circuit is broken, charge Q is trapped and remains constant. As the dielectric increases capacitance, the fixed charge results in the measured voltage dropping in half. In that isolated, disconnected scenario, if capacitance goes up but voltage goes down, what happens to the total stored energy of the system? The stored energy decreases. The energy was spent aligning those molecules in the dielectric. Every dielectric problem you face can be solved by first isolating your locked constant, either the active battery locking the voltage or the broken circuit locking the charge. When you connect multiple capacitors together, you have to throw out your muscle memory from resistor circuits. The mathematical rules for series and parallel are exactly inverted. It helps to look at the flow. In a series circuit, there is a single unbranching path. That means the exact same amount of charge is forced onto every single plate in the line. In a parallel circuit, the tracks branch out, bridging equally across the terminals, meaning every capacitor experiences the exact same voltage. To find the energy stored across these combinations, we look at the electric field. You can calculate this using U equals 1/2 CV squared. Alternatively, substituting our very first definition of capacitance gives us U equals Q squared over 2C. Both formulas are mathematically identical. You choose which one to use based on the geometry of your circuit. If you are in parallel, use the formula with voltage, because voltage is constant. If you are in series, use the formula with Q. Let's put all these rules to the test. Imagine a fully charged capacitor, entirely disconnected from its battery. An external force grabs the plates and they are physically pulled apart until the distance between them is doubled to 2D. What happens to the stored energy? Step 1. Geometry. Doubling the distance cuts the capacitance exactly in half. Step 2. Constants. The battery is disconnected, so the charge is trapped and stays constant. Step 3. Energy. Using our U equals Q squared over 2C formula, with Q locked and C cut in half, the total stored energy mathematically doubles. This energy increase reflects the mechanical work required to pull the plates apart against their mutual attraction. Those positively and negatively charged plates pull on each other. Pulling them apart means an external agent had to exert force against the electric field. That physical effort is what was converted into the new stored electrical potential. Mastering capacitance comes down to understanding the physical constraints of geometry, insulators, and constants, rather than memorizing formulas. Follow those constraints, and the math will always follow the physics.